Naslednje predavanje je pa, se pravi, kolegica z Nizozemske. Just a short introduction in Slovenian. Se pravi, z Nizozemske prihaja seveda v duhu tedna mobilnosti. Imamo danes ogromno neke mobilnosti, predvsem s tujino. In je, se pravi, pri nas zdaj pozdravljam Motta Maia Bodanzky? Yeah, I'm very bad with names, so excuse me. Prihaja iz Tehniške univerze v Delftu, ki je pa predvsem raziskuje vlogo sodobnih knjižnic kot varuhov zbirk. To bo tudi tema z tegale predavanja. Vam pa med kosilom sem se jaz izobrazila in vam svetujem, da precej dobro poslušate, ker je en kup stvari, ki se mi zdi, s katerimi se mi ukvarjamo, če ne ful sistematično, pa v luči pritiska, da rabimo sprazniti depoje, police, prostore in te stvari, tako da kako se zadeve da narediti tudi malo drugače. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hi. Well, thank you very much for the introduction. I would also like to start thanking the Ljubljana and Slovenia Library Association for the opportunity to be here, sharing a little bit of our experience with the Collection Wall project, but a little bit of context now. So my name is Bodanzky. I'm project manager at the Library Learning Center at TU Delft, Delft University of Technology in the Netherlands. And Library Learning Center is the name we give to our open spaces in the library. And as many other libraries, we have been rethinking these open spaces to better reflect the digital transformation. And actually, the Collection Wall project is a project where we have the opportunity to explore possible answers to this challenge, which is one of the challenges of our times. But for those who are not familiar with our library, it's a very iconic building. It was designed in '97 by Meccano. Francine Ruben, the architect, is alumnus from TU Delft. And we do have a really big hall, and at the back of this hall, we have the book wall that you can see here in the image. It's a huge book wall. It has a remarkable presence in the space, of course, but as you can imagine, it has been less and less used by our audience, and more specifically by our students. Now we are a technical university, and then naturally, physical books is not the primary source to access information for them nowadays. So we have been rethinking how we can make this wall alive again now and more used again. And this is where the Collection Wall project will help us to understand how to make it happen. But what is the Collection Wall project? In a nutshell, we are transforming the book wall into a collection wall. So the idea is not only to show the physical books, but also the 3D objects of our heritage collections. And also, of course, we are exploring different ways of tangibilizing the digital collections there. But we aim not only to display them there, but we also hope to activate them in a meaningful way for our users. We have defined 3 main experience goals. So the first one I just mentioned is to bring visibility to our collections beyond physical books. So we hope that our users become more aware of how vast and rich our collections are. We want to inspire exploration, inquiry, serendipity. So we hope the users make connections with their own interests, with their own research. And we want to enable collaboration, interaction, contribution, a sort of exchange with the wall. So we hope they will activate the collections, creating their own narratives, or becoming part of the discourse, for example, by being co-curators of the wall. As I mentioned before, we are talking about a very iconic wall. And it's consensus among most stakeholders that we want to do a transformation, but it cannot be a drastic one. We need to, so we have been exploring ways of integrating the digital collections and the digital elements in a way that we can keep the essence of the original design. As you can see here in the mood board, if you look on the top images and abstract a little bit, you can almost see the wall as a grid where the book spines, they are the minimum item of this grid. They are repeated, repeated, repeated. And then you have the shelves that are also repeated, and then bookshelves. If you abstract a little bit, you have the floor almost as if they were shelves of a gigantic bookshelves. And if you go in this way of thinking, you can clearly see also how we can think of data visualization of our collections that can be integrated well into this approach, design approach. And here on the bottom, you have also some reference on how to integrate the digital screens, but also the vitrines, for example, in this pattern. We do face practical challenges in this project. For example, we have a very big conic shape in the middle of the space. And we know this is an experience that has to work from the main hall, but it also needs to be relevant for nearby interaction when you are in the upper floors. But since there is this conic shape in the middle of the space, there is no one point in the main hall that you can see the entire wall, for example. So as you can see in the sketch here, the way we're approaching it, we are proposing to have what you see in white here is as if we had screens integrated in between shelves there. Our vision is to have a set of screens and a set of vitrines that we can spread throughout the wall. And they can work in sync. For example, relating, visualizing our collections and relating them to what's going on in the main hall. We do have events, exhibitions, and so in this way we can link our collections to what's going on there. But they can also work separately if someone goes upstairs to interactive then. We have been in this process of exploring already for more than 1 year now, and we have learned already that simply visualizing our collections is not enough to engage, first of all, to spark the curiosity and engage our students. Is a way, but not enough. So in order to figure out how is it that we can really engage our students in those experiences that we want to propose, we have been doing a very collaborative process involving many internal stakeholders of the library from different departments, but also the education community. So also professors, students, researchers in general, they are very much involved in the process. So I'm going to show a little bit how we have been doing that. So here is just an example. For example, we do have many discussion sessions, co-creation sessions, and of course meetings, etc., with our internal stakeholders. This is, for example, our heritage team here. In order to do those sessions, previously I already had one-on-one meetings with each member of the team, in which we understand the materials we have in hand, the ambitions, the needs, etc., the desires as well. Once all this material is collected, we also do benchmark research, of course. And for example, in parallel, we also did with the service design team a quick dive in which we were trying to understand, together with the students and with our visitors, what is it that sparks curiosities when we want to tell stories in relation to our cultural heritage objects. So all of this is then material to be used on the sessions, and then we generate concepts that we will later on prototype the most promising ones. This is just one example, and this happens in different teams, or sessions also that includes different members of different teams, and sessions that includes not only members of the teams, but also, as I mentioned, professors or students. It depends on what we need to work on that moment. Another example is, for example, sessions with education, that we do sessions, big sessions with students, for example, or also with professors that you see down there. And these kind of sessions we do when we have, of course, this project has many aspects, no? And some of the points are very polemic or more difficult to find a consensus to move forward. So this is when we bring those sessions in to be able to discuss together, you know? So in this example, for example, we were discussing the distribution of the physical books on the wall that is currently based on the classification system. And from the students' point of view, this is not really an inspiring way for them to go there and discover, for example. And then, of course, the professors have already another opinion in relation to the students' proposal, so everything is brought to the table and discussed together to try to together understand what's the next step in the exploration. We also do a lot of course collaborations. We are lucky enough to be a technical university, so for example, in the industrial design faculty, there is the Futures Library Lab, there is also a Futures Museum Lab, and so we can, together with the researchers there, work together in points that are state-of-the-art research and points that we are exploring in practice. So we have been joining forces to together explore and research aspects that are relevant for the project. We also do a lot of collaborations with different faculties and different courses, just to give a few examples. With the information retrieval class from the computer science department, we had 100 students looking at our data and helping us to improve search results for data visualization, for example. And we had, for example, interactive environments minor is a course that has 35 students from different backgrounds, and they worked on a design brief for us. So we asked them, one big challenge we have is how to attract students to the wall. Now, for example, most of the students go to the library to find their place to study, and they sit there and are focused on the study. So the simple barrier of having the time, the opportunity for the wall, so the mind space for it to go there and explore, that's really difficult for us, and we have been trying to explore how we can do that in different ways. So this class was working on this challenge with us for 6 months, for example, and they not only created concepts, but they also prototyped the concepts, and we selected 3 of them to be exhibited on the wall, not only on the wall, but also in the library, and tested in real context. And we have also worked, for example, with advanced prototyping minor. We had one group of students that received a brief from us to design the vitrine of the future for heritage objects. No? So they went to, they visit our depot, got inspired by our collections, got in touch with the services of that the heritage team offers, and then from that they select some objects and propose a way of telling stories of those objects, and this is now exhibited in the wall. So for the first time, we are dedicating 3 columns of the wall in a sort of prototyping area to understand whether this has potential or not, but it's proving to have a really good potential to co-create the wall with the students and with the professors. So their work are on display right now alongside the works of the interactive environments minor. And we are also not only displaying their work, but also, if you see up there, we also make sure that the students are there, are recognized by their work, and this is proved to be very important for them and for the success of this initiative. No? And not only these, but we also, unfortunately it's cut there, the picture, but we will have the opportunity to see later on, but we also invited the course coordinator, Willemijn, to suggest that 10 must-read books for this course. We bought the books, and we are showing Willemijn next to the books. And this also proved to be a really good opportunity to activate our physical books collection. So this we are also exploring. Here we have a short video of the students telling a little bit about the experience and the relevance for them.
I often come to the TU Delft library to study, so I think it is an important place for me. And being able to contribute to make it more enjoyable and interactive makes me feel more connected. We visited the Heritage Collection here at the depot, and we really discovered the TU Delft's history and heritage and how visible it is. We got inspired by all the objects, and we realized that there was a lot of lost knowledge, and we found this very interesting. These objects are actually the foundation of the innovations that we make today. So these are the geodetic instruments, and in the past they were used to make maps, which is the foundation of GPS systems today, so they are important to our work. This is the chest challenger. It is the chess computer of the past, and it paved the way for modern AI chess bots. Inside the box you can see the chess challenger with a hologram projector on it if you click the button. It was a good challenge to bring our project from concept to reality, and it is incredible to see our work in this collection wall and actually see people interact with it.
And then from all those collaborations, also we identified some students that, that we have been hiring to be student assistants, so to be really part of the process. And it varies, they come from different faculties. So we have students from service design, for example, helping us co-facilitating the sessions. We have students from our technical background helping us to build the prototypes. We do have students working on the visualization of the concepts and the materials to go to the sessions and have a common basis, visual basis to debate. We have computer science students helping us with the data. So it varies a lot how they integrate, how they work in the project. But it's not only what they contribute literally as what they deliver, but it's actually great to have them in the process because we get immediate response when an idea emerges, for example, whether it will work or not. They are our main target audience. So they're there, you know, you can really see in their face, okay, this direction might have potential, this one, no, let's just eliminate right now. So it's very rich to have them, and also to have them in contact with our colleagues, or make sure we have the user's point of view in all discussions and everything that we are working on. It's important to mention this whole collaborative way of working. It's very important not only in this moment of the process that we are trying to figure out in which direction we want to go, but once the collection wall is definitely designed and implemented there, it's going to be really important to keep it alive, to work with this network that we are building right now through the process. So, and then from this collaborative process, the most promising concepts that derive from that, we prototype. And we prototype again, the prototypes are really like quick and dirty, so not so dirty because in order to be able to test them in our space, they need to at least be safe enough, but also presentable. But we try to do really like to identify, okay, what is it in the concept that is essential to test, whether it has potential or not. And then we work in a very reduced, we try to reduce complexity to try to do as fast as possible to identify whether it has potential to later on focus and develop. So they are very simple in a certain way, but they help us to really learn what works, what not, what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be eliminated. And more than this, they have been helping us also, serving as anchor point of this collaborative process, because it's really like almost like a magnet, you know, that is something tangible that people can really like identify and then come and participate on the process. So I will show a few of them. We have been doing a series of them. We started with ones that were still not integrated into the wall, but were already discussing aspects that were relevant for the project. So this is the XR Icon. It was a prototype with XR, extended reality. So it's, as I mentioned, we have this conic shape in the middle of the space. And inside you can see, on that picture you'll see how it is. So you'll see the floors and you have student places around it. And what we did, we installed there in the middle of the space so you could wear the headset. And when you would look up, you see the environment in black and white, and you see what we call the non-standard format collections, so videos, 3D scanned objects of our heritage collections, and so floating in between the floors, as if it was a gigantic book wall there as well, collection wall there. And then you could select through a menu what you are interested in. It would come down and you could watch the video in eye height, for example. So here we have a video as well. But just to show what you see when you wear the headset. You know? In all prototypes, we collect feedback in various ways. I will talk a little bit more about that later. But for example, just briefly mention a little bit what we learned with this prototype is that the technology is really good to attract students to use it. It really worked in this sense. It sparks curiosity. But also the technology is not in the current state, doesn't work to be left there and simply everybody can use it and will enjoy. Actually, people that wear glasses had a lot of difficulties in using it, and many other problems that we face with calibration and so it's not there yet. But in terms of content also, the users were really mesmerized to see, so it works very much also for first-time people visiting the library to create an impression, and so students identify as a really interesting, it has potential to be used in pairs or more people together, being able to link the data when you're seeing, not only watching, but if you're able to together rearrange data, it could be an interesting way. So some potentials were identified and also many challenges. And we wrote a paper on this. You can find it at IFLA with all the learnings. Another prototype that we did, still not in the wall, was called Oracle. It was done in collaboration with an art and design studio based in Den Haag, the Render Studio. And what we did was, again, to reduce complexity, we work only with one collection, Theses and Dissertations of TU Delft. And what we proposed was a way of allowing users to visually navigate the collections. We use machine learning to cluster the items based on keywords, and then users could visually navigate, could filter based on faculties, could filter based on year of publication, and a few other talks. So we will watch a video again.
Oracle allows the user to navigate the article collection like a visual map. So that allows the user to explore the collection not through queries, but through interaction. It's a visual space. People can navigate that space. The space is organized in a way that articles that are similar are placed in close proximity, and also articles that are similar, they share a cover that looks similar. On this map, you can explore the collection, you can filter the collection, for example, on the year in which this dissertation is made, or by which faculty the dissertation is produced. We've picked 200 articles from the collection, and using machine learning, we can predict the covers for the remainder of the collection. That may help you guide you through this collection space.
Can you go back? Again, we learned a lot, but just to mention the most important learning is that all the students, they started to explore the collection always from a very personal point of view. So first thing, they filter based on faculty. They try to find their own faculty, and they try to identify people that they knew the names, that graduated, and this was the way they started exploring, felt through familiarity first, and then they started to cross knowledge. So this was a very important learning for us that we are using in various ways throughout the process. And another one that was curious is that they were all curious about the oldest thesis in relation to their faculty, for example. So we also used this in a prototype later on. So this prototype can be currently experienced in the wall. It was our first prototype that we integrated into the wall. And as you can see, we still focus on thesis and dissertations to reduce complexity. Again, for the digital interface, we worked with Render Studio. And what users can do in the digital interface is very similar to the video that we have already seen. You can visually navigate, filter based on faculties, and a few other parameters. Every time you find a thesis that interests you, it reveals information about the thesis, it recommends related theses in the different faculties to it. It also gives you some statistics, so to have a kind of distance reading from the collection. But also what we are proposing with this and testing with this prototype is a way of merging the physical with the digital. So what you see, the books there, they're actually physical theses that you can explore in the traditional way. And if you're interested in a physical thesis that is there, you are not only limited to further explore what's directly on the shelf there, but you can also scan it on an interface, and then it will reveal related theses in relation to the entire collection, not only the ones that are next to it on the shelves. Also, another thing is that you see physical tokens, they are hanging next to the small screens. We have faces of the students. Every year the best master theses are awarded in each one of the faculties. So we are highlighting there the best graduates of the most recent years, and then you can scan the physical token, and it reveals information about the thesis, it reveals related theses, etc. But this proves to be a very interesting way to spark curiosity of the students, again, having really the people behind the scenes, the people behind the research, being also celebrated somehow and displayed on the wall. And also for the heritage vitrine, I mentioned that we learned that they were curious about the first dissertation of TU Delft, for example, that you can see in the middle vitrine there. And then we identified an object in our heritage collection that relates to the content of the dissertation. And we also find the most recent thesis that relates to this dissertation. And all of this content is in the vitrine, but also we have the physical tokens hanging there. So since you cannot touch the objects, you can also scan the physical tokens and know more information about it with the same interface in the screens. No? And on the back, we have the keywords. We tried very hard to use AI to generate a provocative question that would spark curiosity to the students. But to be honest, we have been using AI in different ways in this process. But in this case, we were not successful. So we ended up using only to generate the keywords that bind all the content together. And this is what is displayed on the back. This one, we have a very short video. I will show. So as I mentioned, we have been learning from the prototypes, and the way we collect feedback is we do online surveys, we do in-depth interviews, but we also present a lot in many classes. We also have been collaborating, I mentioned a few collaborations we did, but we have been collaborating with many classes that actually use the prototype as a basis to investigate, to collect user feedback, especially in industrial design. We had students also working during one semester just on this prototype, analyzing the prototype and proposing redesigns for it. And we have, of course, we always open the prototypes to the public, presenting first in the kick of the week. It's a meeting that we have every Tuesday to our internal colleagues. So we also collect internal feedback about it, and of course, presenting as much as we can, like here today, because our interest, we are really in the exploration phase, and we are really interested in the discussion rather than really already proposing the solution. So really learning from the others and the different impressions is very important for us. So please share with me and here today. And just to finalize, this is an ongoing process. So this is just a few examples of the next prototype, next prototypes actually we have been working on. So we have an AI experience, as you can see here, that we will open soon to the public. It's an experience that you can scan a book and start a conversation about this book with AI. And so scan the books that are on the shelves around them. And we have this provocative sentence there, scan a book to change your future, because we did user research while we were brainstorming about the experience, and we already found out that the students would not be interested enough only if you offer the possibility to have a conversation about the book. We needed a playful aspect to it. And the way we are proposing now is that as a way of starting the conversation to actually be a kind of fortune teller. So at the beginning, the AI, based on the book that you scanned, will predict a speculative job position for the future. And then based on this kind of joke, it starts really talking, okay, if you read this book, you could be there, you know? So just as a way to provoke and start a conversation and a reaction to it. Of course, we are not labeling it AI librarian. Actually, this comes only in presentations, because as I said, the prototypes, we are not just testing actually the experience that we are proposing there, but we are also using as a way to understand, together with our colleagues and with everyone involved, first of all, the effort that is behind to propose something like this. If we go in this direction, what's involved in terms of work, in terms of capacity for the teams, etc., but also in terms of discussion. So we have been discussing today a lot in terms of AI, and so AI librarian is a very provocative thing that is not, again, not on the prototype, but it's exactly to raise the discussion together with the colleagues. Just to mention another prototype we will open soon is the physical book recommendations. So as I mentioned before, we asked the course coordinator to recommend that 10 must-read books. This has been proving to be a really nice way. Actually, like students were already checking out the books, and the professors were proud to be on the wall, to have a curated shelf, and they were promoting these even on social media for us, so it was an organic way of activating the collections. So we are testing a slightly bigger scale now. We invited more than 20 professors, so we are buying more than 200 books now that will be available around this AI experience, and we will test also the possibility of having curated shelves in a bigger scale in the wall. To finalize, we are also developing a digital twin of the wall. So we will allow an interactive station in the main hall for people to explore the content of the wall, but also to help with wayfinding, because over and over again we hear from the students that the wall is amazing, but it's just too massive. They don't even know where to start. They don't dare even go into the wall, so we hope to facilitate there. Not to mention that they are not used anymore with the classification system in the way to find themselves the books. So we hope to explore this with the digital twin prototype. And as I mentioned before, I'm looking forward to all your questions and continue discussing. Here is the QR code to the website of the Collection Wall project. And if you are interested and curious, we try to keep it updated, and you can always contact us to share more experience and discuss, or please, I'm looking forward to hearing your impressions on it. Thank you.